Unlock your potential with a comprehensive suite of investing tools and expert education with GammaEdge. Start your free 14-day trial today. So this is intraday today. And so the question is what do GEX and trans levels tell you about price action? I think one of the first things to think about is that trans, or the transition area that is defined, is an area where the way we've created it and defined it is that it's where all strikes at the positive trans level have positive gamma. So that's this column right here, and you can see from this point up, which is defined by the white box, all have positive gamma. And then the net GEX, SPX is a little challenged here today. Let's see if we can find another one, because we had an inversion when we started the morning. Let's see, this was 6:30 this morning. That might the N GEX, or negative GEX, which is defined right here at 4170, and this was in the SPX-A this morning. It's that strike at which it and all the strikes below it, between it all the way down to minus GEX, have minus gamma. So that tells you how it's defined. What does it mean in the overall context of what we're looking at? So gamma is really important. And I think, Jimmy, I'm going to take you off server mute here. I'm going to ask you some questions, because this is the best way for all of us to learn. All right, you are unmuted. Your mic is whatever it is now. So one of the first things is just, what is the definition of gamma, right? So you're asking, what does gamma exposure and trans levels tell you about price action on the day? And I think it's important just to make sure we understand we're starting from a common point about what gamma is. So just off the top, if you have a mic, in your words, what is gamma?
What I understand it to be is this is going to affect the change in delta.
Bingo. As a change of what has to change? Yeah. What has to change in order for delta to change?
So maybe I'm not clear on that. I don't know.
No, that's fine. And so gamma is the change in delta for the change in underlying, right? So as spot price moves around, so as this yellow line moves up and down, we get a disproportionate change in the delta that you see here. So not only does the yellow line moving up and down change delta, but you get what's called convexity. You get gamma that changes what's happening over here. So it becomes to your question, what does gamma exposure tell you about price action? They become levels in the day that we have to pay attention to. So here's from this morning's first glimpse, pre-market. And I think the thing to understand is that you can have put-dominated gamma levels, and then you can have call-dominated gamma levels. And that's what we're showing here in these bars. And why that's important is that you have to think through, and this is what I think you asked the question about, how do you look at the morning notes and things like that. And this is exactly the analysis that we go through in the morning, where we say, if price goes up, what is happening to deltas? What is happening as we go through these? And I think it's important to understand that as you move into a call-dominated environment, and here, let's do this here. So this was this morning's, literally the 0 DTE for this morning. And I talked about, if we get above a certain level, then we're going to get captured because, or there was a high likelihood we were going to get captured because we had, in the net, you can put this on a single expiry, and then you can compare the put open interest and the call open interest. And you can see, your eye can see right now that the calls are winning. And so we've added a column actually just yesterday to help you visualize that, so you don't have to do those mental gymnastics. And basically this is telling you that above 4205 and positive gamma, you're going to be controlled by calls And so as price, this yellow line, moves up the strike chain, you're going to get captured into an area where calls are going to be dominant. So let's talk about why that's important, right? So as this yellow line moves upward, let's ignore the kind of the weird setup that we have right here. Let's just talk about what happens here as this moves north. When the line is moving up, the calls below the yellow line are in the money. So these are dominant, and that's why all the deltas are green down here. And similarly, all the puts right here, these are all in the money, and that's why we're red, except we have effectively, we've got some pretty strong count in context of out of the money calls, which are flipping these deltas. And that's what's causing these to turn red right here. So as this thing moves up, as the yellow line moves up, two things are going to happen. So remember, and I'm going to pop a quiz on you here, so get ready. But remember, as we move up, we're changing delta and we're changing gamma. So what's the delta here at the yellow line? So if I have a at the money strike or at the money option, what's the delta of that at the money option?
Would that be 1, or that's
It would be
only?
Yeah, it's 0.5 or
0.5, okay.
50 or minus
Okay.
50. So if it's a put, it's negative and it's minus 50, and or minus 0.5, depending on how you notionalize it. The point here is that as I push this yellow line up, what I'm effectively doing is the deltas, which are up here, these are out of the money calls, and so like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 at the yellow line, 60, 70, 80. I'm exaggerating. I don't know exactly what the distribution was, but so we're capturing, we're building deltas in the complex. And when you see a whole bunch of gamma all stacked together, it happens. It's not just the $5 change in the strikes, it's the $5 change in delta plus all of the change from the gamma. So we're not only are we adding on, we're adding on at a disproportionate rate. That's what gamma does to us. Gamma forces deltas to change in a curve, or what we call a nonlinear way, and it causes the dealers, we believe, to have to adjust. They get forced to adjust. It's not a straight line anymore. It's something that's nonlinear. It can be reactionary, and then we overlay the open interest surface, and you get this kind of distribution that says to the dealers, if we push through here, we're going to see some pretty serious movements up the page as we go. Now, let's go look at that here real quick, because I think one of the things to appreciate, let me see if I can get this up here today, just while we're here one more time. If I can't do it here, I'll do it somewhere else. Yeah, so that first adjustment that we were looking at earlier today, I think, let's see, where was that? So 40, we opened up right here at 16. So, okay, so that earlier, let me go back in time here a little bit, 31, and then bam, here we go. Oh, that's UTC. That's what's messing me up. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? All right, that'll be better. I'll be able to process this here in my mind. So we had a couple things that went on here today. And one of the things that went on, I think that is important, is that, we opened up wherever we opened up here at 9:30. We kind of flirted around here, and then we took off here. You can see at 10, whatever it was, 10 o'clock, we had these major adjustments upward that we started playing with here today. And why I think that's important is that look at the range that we did this to, 42.11 up to about 42.26. So let's go back to where we were, and let's go back to the 0 DTE here. So in that 0 DTE, refresh. Okay. Oof, I was going to say, in that 0 DTE this morning, we were at this 4205, 4210, and we pushed through that gamma in the morning right up into that 4220. So you saw that adjustment. Let me see if I go back there without it resetting. Oh, it reset. Nope, here it is. It is here. We're still working on this, so this isn't ready for prime time, but you get the idea. We pushed really rapidly through that. And so I think the reason we pushed through that is because of all this gamma. So to your first question, what do GEX and trans levels tell you? So we've answered the trans. The trans is, where the pressure is extremely low, and then the GEX level is what is effectively causing a major surge in price or causing things to move upward, pretty rapidly, pretty fast. And I think that's effectively what we were seeing there. So when we're watching the GEX ratio, or not the GEX ratio, when we're watching GEX in the overall structure, we're watching for where are we going to be really, really sensitive to price change. So market action is going to move that yellow line up and down. And when you start getting caught into this process, it just adds, we're adding more and more positive deltas, partly at the gamma rate, but partly because we got captured by this this net positive delta exposure, and as a result of that, we just started shooting upward. Now, how far can we go? Well, if you were asking me this question during the day, I would say, well, the 4230 line, you can see a precipitous fall off after that. So what does that mean? So it means the gamma exposure over 4230 decays very, very quickly, and we get back into kind of a standard, 3540, 4550, where it's not zero, but it's decaying off faster. So the pressure, the nonlinear pressure for dealer response gets less and less after we get over that 4230, and this was as of today. So remember though, as price goes up, deltas are going to change, and you can just look at the single day level here in the net of the OI, and you can see there's still some pretty big numbers. I don't remember exactly where we ended the day. I think it was right around the 3540 strike. So we ended up right in this area, which, looking at where we were at 11 o'clock today, in hindsight makes pretty good sense, but I think we did push up into the 40s, and then we pulled back a little bit. So hopefully that is a kind of a high level overview of what does GEX tell us about price action on the intraday.
It does, and the acceleration of the move is what you explained as well. That was helpful.
Sure, and remember too, and we saw it today. We saw some pretty sharp drops today also, and so the converse of what I was just describing is also true. If for whatever reason, if we start seeing some selling coming into the equation, as this yellow line is moving down, it's also removing deltas, because remember, as I go up, I'm adding long deltas into the complex. Our book's getting longer, the dealer's book is getting shorter, and it's pushing us up. You create the wind for the market to keep expanding while you're captured by the deltas. But we also saw some pullbacks to 4205, and those pullbacks right into this neutral area, right back into the transition area, came very fast. Some of them came down, within 10, 15 minutes. It's the exact same phenomena, but in reverse. We had something that was causing a selling reaction, and we're now starting to push spot price down. Well, when spot price is changing and dropping through a positive gamma environment like this, we've got the broader context on the shortest of time frames. We're removing deltas, because now what was in the money below the yellow line is starting to go out of the money above the yellow line. So those deltas, which were now, previously 70, are going to 60, are going to 50, are going to 40. And so we're removing long deltas. If we remove long deltas, our book's getting shorter, dealer book's getting longer, all things considered, dealer has to sell. And that can exacerbate our move to the other side as we move through this, what I call gamma glob. So the reverse of these things work also in the shortest of time frames, about how we can get that acceleration up, but also get an acceleration down. One final thought, and then we'll go on to another question here, unless you have something else. What was key today, I think was that this 4205 is where the positive deltas in the single day expiry started. And we came down to 4205 numerous times today. And that's because we had this put dominated at 4200. It's a natural defense area where people start buying, etc. Right? I'm coming back down to 42, the scene of the crime. I'm going to start buying. If I buy through opening of calls, what am I doing? I'm adding long deltas to my book. If I'm adding long deltas to my book, the dealer's on the other side of it. Dealer's getting shorter on their book. They push us up and away we go again. So every time we came down, we defended 4205. The defense of 4205 was that we didn't continue selling. We saw buying going in through price action, and that reversed us. And it kept pushing us back up, hence why we ended up in the structure, probably up in this area, or is a good contributor to why that occurred.